all the audience, families here. Okay, so today it is a call to action speech. The point of my speech is to try to get people to practice more with their carry firearms so that they're better suited to handle a situation. The point of the speech is armed citizens protect themselves and others. So the American Rifleman had 90 accounts of armed citizens stopping crimes this year alone. Each of these stories come from news articles around the nation. They are anywhere from a Cleveland woman that was cut off in traffic and somebody tried to get into her car. Luckily, her son, who is a concealed carry permit holder, had his concealed carry firearm with him. Upon drawing it and pointing it at the would-be carjacker, they fled the scene, and later were arrested. All the way up to a father of two toddler-aged boys that heard noises coming from their room. When entered the room, found two suspects climbing in the window of the boys' room. After firing 2 shots at the pair of intruders, the pairs fled, which one later died and the other one was apprehended. So from this information, it shows that, you know, just the fact of having a firearm may be enough, but you have to be ready to use it if need be. The Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This amendment is pointed towards all United States citizens, as long as they are capable of handling the task of carrying a firearm. This is where the practice comes in, the training, and the background checks and things like that you have to go through. As far as my training as being a firearms instructor, I grew up around firearms as far as hunting with the family, and then later on with myself, and then taking my boys out and training them. Also have military training. Had 4 years in the United States Navy where we had to qualify on firearms and everything. After that, I started running an IDPA, which is International Defensive Pistol Association here locally. Ran that for a few years, helping train others on defensive situations and scenarios, and also doing some matches and stuff like that. After that, I got into teaching 4-H age kids, age 8 to 18, with shotguns, and assisting with some other disciplines also, but primarily shotgun. So, a little background on why we should do this. This chart shows the crime rates in Colorado from 2015 to 2016, showing the overall percentage rates of rise between the 2 years, and the average for all types of major crime was a 5.5% rise in crime. Motor vehicle theft being the largest at 22%. Shows that, hey, you know, things are getting worse out there. You may need this before you know it. So the average gun owner in America owns 3 guns, but 3% of these gun owners own 50% of the guns. So that goes to show that there's a lot of people out there that only own 1, because there's a lot that have way more than 3. So just some statistics that are out there. The number of rapes reported from 1992 to 2014 has dramatically reduced. So if crime in general is rising over the years, why is rape lowering? This is all compared to an almost steady number of women gun owners, shown by Yadelon in 2016. Kind of goes to show that there is a correlation between the owning and carrying of firearms to violent crime. So The NRA reports a 70% increase since 1980 of women taking shooting classes. These are nationally sponsored training that the NRA does, and probably in this statistic would go into some other privately owned shooting classes and stuff like that in these classifications. So that just kind of shows a little bit about women, rape, violent crimes in that area. But if you go on to look, gun ownership trends from 1972 to 2014 show a steady decrease in actual gun ownership and steady increase in people that don't own any guns. So that would lead towards the overall crime rates going up across the United States and in Colorado. So, if all of this data gives you a desire to protect yourself and others, we're going to discuss now the requirements and recommendations for arming yourself and what you should do to make yourself more proficient with your firearm if you choose to carry one. So, in Colorado, a concealed carry license range up to around $152 for to get the permit. That would include paying for your background check. The sheriff's office can also charge an administration fee up to and including this $152. Before you can actually get this permit, though, you are required by the state to take a concealed carry class. These classes can range from 2 days up to 5 days, depending on if the class has shooter proficiency built into the class. Some classes are just classroom, going over laws, regulations, and the requirements of carry. So if you aren't familiar with your firearm, aren't familiar with concealed carry movements, or even handling of your firearm from a concealed carry, I would highly recommend a 5-day class so that you can get somebody that is proficient in this to give you some instruction on the actual handling of your firearm. So, depending on how you choose to carry, whether it be a front carry, back carry, purse, whatever it is that you happen to choose, inside the vest holster, there's a lot of different ways to do that. But one of the most important things is being able to access your firearm from a concealed carry position. Drawing from a wide open holster is a whole different aspect than trying to remove one from a concealed carry position inside of a coat or inside of a handbag. For women, inside of the handbag is usually many women carry it in their purse because it's something that they have with them and everything. It's not a bad place because you can actually have your hand in your purse on your firearm without removing it from concealed. It makes you easier to get hold of it. But there's also the aspect that if a bad guy realizes that that purse is out there in the open, they could take it, and now they've also got a hold of your firearm. So, as far as practicing, one of the big problems with practice is the expense of ammo. WikiArms is a website that actually keeps track of ammo prices on all the online stores, and you can actually order ammo to your house without any kind of regulation. And then, like I said, they show the cheapest prices for each online place. Over the years, ammo's can get down to a point where it's hard to find. This shows availability, so if your local store doesn't have it, this may be an easy way to get a hold of it. Even if you are shopping locally, you can compare prices with what is available online, and it may be more viable for you to order it. The other aspect is reloading. That's a totally different topic that we're not going to go into great detail on. Obviously, it is cheaper if you're set up to do it, but the initial expense of getting ready to reload is definitely a lot higher. So the gear that you'll need, definitely need hearing protection, whether it be outside hearing protection, inside hearing protection, and safety glasses. The fact of safety glasses, if something happens with the firearm and it fails, or if ricochets or anything like that happen, you definitely want to do it. So from there, you got everything. ready to go, you got all your ammo. So how much time do you need to spend on this to become proficient? It depends on each person, but the amount of time it takes, it may be a lot. It may be very expensive, it may be not practical, but is the fact of not being ready for the situation when you really need it, is that practical either, to protect yourself or your family and loved ones. I only wish I could have that much ammo to play with, but. So, let's meet Kimber Woods. July 2017 in Spokane, Washington, a 17-year-old girl was forced to defend herself from a robbery suspect who picked the wrong home to break into. The local news stations reported on the morning news that a perimeter had been set in the vicinity of the girl's home to catch an escapee from the local jail. The police had been on a car chase before getting away. The girl had called to ask her father if she could use one of his guns just in case of emergency, since there was a known bad guy in the area. Once she received permission, the girl retrieved the gun, placed it under her pillow, and went back to sleep. Later in the morning, the girl awoke to the sounds of someone moving about the house. The girl grabbed the gun and hid behind her vanity. Great idea. She didn't go and confront him. She didn't go looking for trouble, but when trouble came in, and when he entered the room, she pointed the gun at the man, who took off running at the side of the firearm. The man stole her boyfriend's ATV from the property to make his escape. The girl later confirmed the robbery suspect was the same man who had broke into her home. So once again, just the fact of her being prepared and ready to handle the situation de-escalated it from, what possibly could have happened to her had she not been prepared. The guy could have taken her hostage. What if he had found the gun first and used it on her? So all of this information points towards protecting yourself. Like I said, in Colorado alone, the crime rates have gone up 50% in the last 3 years, listed by the numbers of murders, car theft, and this comes from a Colorado public radio station. Don't forget, the Second Amendment is a right for all Americans as long as you have the mental capacity to accept this responsibility. So, with that, as a parting quote, it says, "Lord, make me fast and accurate, let my aim be true, and my hands be faster than those who would seek to destroy me. Grant me victory over my foes and those that wish to do harm to me and mine. Let not my last thought be, if I only had my gun. And Lord, if today is truly the day that you call me home, let me die on a pile of brass." So, with that, any questions? Nothing? No?
Sounds to me like you covered it pretty good.
Covered it pretty
Okay.
thoroughly, I think.
If you're looking to get your concealed carry permit, the permits are available from your local sheriff department and has to be filled out and then background check done on those. As far as choosing the firearm that would best suit you or a family member, if you can get to a shooting range that has guns available, we don't in our area, but there's enough people in our area that you could borrow a gun and try it out to find out what suits you best, what fits you best. Is it going to fit into your concealed carry position? If you're looking for a leg mount, it's definitely going to be a smaller frame firearm than if it was a back mount or a purse or other type of bag. So if there's any other questions that anybody has, they definitely can ask me on the assignment page. And with that, thank you guys for your time.